what the slaves would have seen first, after surviving the treacherous Middle Passage. Here they encountered a new country, a new language, and a new life as someone else's property.
These walls are covered with African blood because they were forced to construct this gorgeous building after the indigenous population decreased because illness. And they were forced to dive into the ocean and get these stones because they are made of coral.
I see, coral,
yes,
yeah.
Yes, it's coral. And many of them died in this process. It's a history of death and a history of invisibility.
So this is the fingerprint of Black history in Mexico.
Right.
It's right here.
Right, definitely.
Death and invisibility. Mexico's Black past didn't just disappear. It's still here, and in two forms. It's an essential part of the history, culture, and DNA of the country. But for some, it's written on their faces. The visible remnant of all that didn't melt in the mestizo melting pot that we call Mexico. Mexico is a victim of its own success. It had a noble idea. It abolished slavery in 1830, 33 years before the United States did. But it had a romantic idea that if it eliminated racial categories, it would eliminate racism. But that was really a form of racism itself. You can't be great if you try to suppress a huge aspect of your history and a huge part of the identity of your people. The blackest part of Mexico today is called the Costa Chica. It's on the Pacific coast, on the opposite side of the country from Veracruz. South of Acapulco and north of Puerto Escondido, the land is swampy and the towns are extremely poor. Do black people suffer discrimination here in Mexico?
Yes, we are a racist society. If you are in the cities, they stop you, ask you for your ID card, they make you sing the national anthem.
Is against an African Mexican seeing himself as someone who can lift his head and take his place in Mexican society as an equal.
A racial controversy in 2005 brought Mexico unwanted international attention. The Mexican government issued a commemorative stamp featuring the popular black cartoon character Memín Pinguin. Most Mexicans loved this character, but African Americans were incensed, calling it a racist throwback. Jesse Jackson even flew to Mexico City to complain about it personally to President Vicente Fox. The stamp became an instant collector's item, and the comic book was reissued from its first printing. The government never apologized and has never recalled the stamp. Memín Penguin. I mean, if you're sitting in Boston, you look at it, looks like Sambo.
Mexicans, who are very intelligent people, their reaction was, you cannot judge him by racist standards of the end of the century because it was based on the 1940s. So there's nothing wrong about Memín Penguin. You sort of pinch yourself to say, well, is something wrong with me?
Free your mind, brother.
And you see the extent to which people have really bought into a system which is biased.
The first step is being included in the census, to make it known that there are black people in Mexico. And those black people didn't get stuck in colonial times. And they aren't just in history books in the times of slavery. Blacks are here now, right now, today. And they are demanding that their rights be recognized.
Do you think your effort will be successful to change the census?
We started a process in which we had talks with government authorities. At the last minute, they informed us that it's not possible to include a question on the census, but we are pushing forward a pilot census for the black population in Mexico.
Oh, that's good. How will it benefit the black community if they can say Afro, Blanco, Indigenous?
The benefits would be public policies for these populations, better living conditions, education, health, housing, access to federal programs. If we don't start, we will never know how many blacks there are in Mexico.